What's up and welcome to another Disorderly Sports Report. My name is Nick Risner, and it is finally time for the NFL playoffs. Week 18's over and done with. Still feels kind of weird to say Week 18, but for a number of teams, it all came down to the 18th and final week to determine their fate, so we'll start by talking about that. Now, I'm not too concerned with seeding or how that shuffled around this weekend, because at the end of the day, a playoff game is a playoff game, and while there are certainly tougher and easier opponents out there, you still have to defeat a playoff team with everything on the line to advance. So the Cowboys, for example, jumped from a 4 seed to a 3 seed. Not really that big of a difference in my opinion. The one exception, of course, is the Tennessee Titans, who barely held on to defeat Texans 28-25, securing the number 1 overall seed in the AFC and that coveted first-round bye. The only one available this year as well. That means that the Titans are now only 2 wins away from the Super Bowl, while everyone else, with the NFC exception of the Green Bay Packers, needs to win 3. So let's keep our focus on the AFC for now. The Chiefs, Bengals, and Titans already had their divisions locked up heading into the weekend, but the AFC East was technically still open. Now, the Bills had the lead in the division and only needed to win to secure that claim. However, if the Bills lost, then the Patriots could have risen up and taken the AFC East for themselves with a win over the Dolphins. Alas, much ado about nothing since the Bills won their final game and the Patriots lost theirs. That grants the Bills the 3 seed and relegated the Patriots to the 6th spot, but for those keeping score at home, this was very good news for sports fans because the Bills and the Pats are now set to face off in the first round of the playoffs. Obviously, their 3rd meeting of the season with the overall record squared at 1 apiece. Now, I'm not sure if I want a crazy win game like we got the first time in Buffalo, but I wouldn't hate a snow game. It just feels right for a battle of the Northeast, obviously. The history that the Patriots have playing in snow games. So I'm rooting for snow, but hopefully the weather otherwise is pretty normal, albeit a little cold. The rest of the AFC picture was literally shaped in the last seconds of overtime in the final game of the regular season. Because earlier in the day, the Steelers improbably defeated the Ravens in an overtime game of their own, winning by just 3 points and effectively punching their ticket to the playoffs. There's only one caveat that would bump the Steelers out of the postseason, and that was a tie in the night game between the Chargers and the Raiders. That would leave all 3 teams with a 9-7-1 record, and the tiebreaker would go to the Chargers and the Raiders. But I mean, what are the odds of that? The last game of the season ending in a tie? Well, it nearly fucking happened. It literally came down to a last-second field goal from 47 yards out, far from automatic, with 3 teams' fates hanging in the balance. If the kick is good, the Chargers are eliminated, the Raiders go to the postseason, and they bring the Steelers with them. If the kick misses, the Chargers and Raiders go to the postseason. The Raiders are stuck playing their dangerous in-division rivals, Kansas City Chiefs, and the Steelers are stuck dealing with the most improbable and heartbreaking of collapses. Not to mention saying goodbye to their 18-year veteran QB, Ben Roethlisberger, just after thinking they had another game with him. I mean, what a moment. And at the end of all that, the kick was good, the Chargers were eliminated, and we're left with the number 2 Chiefs hosting the number 7 Steelers, while the number 4 Bengals welcome the number 5 Raiders. We'll have to wait till Sunday night for the Chiefs-Steelers, but we kick the weekend off with the Bengals Raiders, set for 4:30 Eastern Time this Saturday. A perfect appetizer for the Pats-Bills rivalry game on Saturday night. But that's just one half of the picture here. We've got 7 NFC teams eager for their opportunity to make a postseason run. As I mentioned, the Packers locked up the 1 seed back in Week 17, so they're just sitting back and kind of watching the rest of the action this weekend, but we got some pretty compelling storylines in the other 3 games. Let's just start with the 2-7 matchup, since that's the first one we'll see out of the NFC. Set to kick off 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday. We've got the reigning defending Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers, helmed by Tom Brady, tied for the best record in the NFL at 13-4. They'll take on the lowly Philadelphia Eagles, who are 9-8, holding the worst record in this year's postseason. But let us not forget Tom Brady's struggles against the NFC East. Brady has appeared in 10 Super Bowls, still a baffling number, and holds a 7-3 record in the big game. 4 of those 10 games were against NFC East opponents, the Giants twice, and the Eagles twice. Tom Brady's Super Bowl record against the NFC East is 1-3. Now, Tom's postseason run began with Washington last year, so that brings his postseason record against the NFC East to 2-3 all time. Now, listen, are the Bucs better than the Eagles? Unquestionably. But could the Eagles rekindle some of that 2018 magic and somehow topple Goliath this weekend? I guess we'll know soon enough. Which, speaking of old rivalries, brings us to the Sunday late afternoon game, the San Francisco 49ers at the Dallas Cowboys, a revival of one of the greatest rivalries of all time. Now, I'll break down the history of that rivalry a little bit later, but let's start by how we got here. The Cowboys entered the weekend as a 4th seed in the NFC. They had won the NFC East and already eliminated themselves from contention for the number 1 seed. So essentially, they could land anywhere from 2 to 4, depending on how things played out in Week 18. Step 1, beat the Eagles. Easy. The Cowboys decided to play their starters. The Eagles decided to rest. So it was pretty easy work for Dallas on Saturday night. Now, it comes down to 3 different Sunday games, all playing at 4:25. to determine where Dallas ends up, who they end up playing. The Rams versus the 49ers, Seahawks versus Cardinals, Bucks versus Panthers. Now, the Cowboys could have found themselves in the 2 spot if the 49ers, Seahawks, and Panthers all won. If you flip the result of the Panthers-Bucks game and the Bucks win alongside with the 49ers and Seahawks, then the Cowboys would be a 3 seed. Any other result, aside from, ties or weird things of that nature, that I didn't spend too much time looking into, any other result would cement the Cowboys as a 4 seed. Well, we got that middle option. 49ers, Seahawks, Bucks all won, effectively eliminating the Saints, who had an outside shot to get in, and bumping the 49ers up to that 6 seed. So after all of that, and I know that's a lot of information, after all that, we have the Cowboys and the 49ers meeting in the postseason for the 8th time, 3 meetings in the 70s, 1 in the 80s, 3 in the 90s, and now 2022, their first time squaring off in a playoff game since 1994. And if you're looking to get excited for that game, check out The Timeline, A Tale of Two Cities on the NFL Films YouTube channel. Just a quick little half-hour documentary about the rivalry. I'll also be coming out with a little something later in the week, so be on the lookout for that. Anyway, yeah, I'm excited for this game. Which leaves us with just one game to discuss, the Monday night offering. The lone NFC in-division matchup with the LA Rams hosting the Arizona Cardinals. The Rams 12-5, the Cardinals 10-7. Both teams coming off a loss in Week 18. Much like the Bills and the Pats, the Rams and Cardinals split their regular season matchups with both teams winning on the road. On one side you've got Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald. On the other side you got Budda Baker and Chandler Jones. Cooper Kupp and Odell Beckham Jr. versus Christian Kirk and AJ Green, Matt Stafford versus Kyler Murray. This is poised to be one hell of a shootout, probably jam-packed with highlights. It should be an excellent cap to the wildcard weekend, with the winner likely facing the Green Bay Packers in the divisional round. Actually, let's take a look at the likely divisional round matchups. The Bucks are favored by 7 points, so let's just assume they take care of business on Sunday. If the Cowboys win, the Bucks will host Dallas in the divisional round, and the Packers will host the winner of the Rams and Cardinals. If the Cowboys lose, the Bucks will host the Rams-Cardinals winner, and the Packers will get the 49ers. Over in the AFC, you have to imagine that the Chiefs will knock off the Steelers. I mean, the Chiefs are favored by 13 points. So just like the NFC, it comes down to the 3-6 matchup, which in this case is the Buffalo Bills versus New England Patriots. If the Bills win, they'll face the Chiefs, and the Bengals Raiders winner will face the Titans. If the Pats win, the Pats will face the Titans, and the Chiefs will host the winner of the Bengals Raiders. So all things considered, I'll end this podcast by making some predictions. In the AFC, I got the Chiefs over the Steelers, the Pats over the Bills, and the Bengals over the Raiders. That leaves us with the Titans versus the Patriots and the Chiefs versus the Bengals. I'll take the Pats to win if Derrick Henry is still out. If Derrick Henry comes back, I'm picking the Titans over the Pats. Either way, the Chiefs, I think, will take care of business against Cincy, pitting the Patriots or the Titans against the Chiefs for the AFC Championship. Again, depending on Derrick Henry, I think the Chiefs win no matter who it's against and return to the Super Bowl for the 3rd year in a row. In the NFC, I think the Bucks destroy the Eagles. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't worried about the Cowboys dropping one to the 49ers, but my brain says they'll walk away with a W, and I just think the Rams offense is too powerful for the Cardinals to advance. So that leaves us with the Packers versus the Rams and the Cowboys versus the Bucks. Now, the Cowboys and Bucks kicked off the season way back on September 9th, first game of the regular season on Thursday, and it was a really good game. The Bucks ended up winning by 2 points. Greg Zuerlein for the Cowboys missed 2 field goals that would have drastically changed things, but that's still the kicker we're rolling with in the postseason, so that's a pretty scary thought. Nevertheless, it seems like both teams have improved since then, but I unfortunately have to go with the Bucks to advance. Obviously, I hope I'm wrong on that as a Cowboys fan. And then I think the Packers easily take down the Rams, though I hope I'm wrong about that too. Packers also questionable kicker, so we'll see if anyone gets bit by that. But as it stands now, you've got 2 of the greatest quarterbacks of all time in the NFC Championship. Tom Brady versus Aaron Rodgers, the 2 best records in all of football this year. Who gets it done? And as much as it pains me to say it, I'm going with Rodgers this time around. I just think the Packers are a damn good team this year, and they're destined for a Super Bowl appearance, a road made even easier by that first-round bye. So that leaves us with the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Green Bay Packers for Super Bowl 56 in Inglewood, California, which, before I make a prediction here, I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge the 2022 halftime show. I know the internet's going to have a field day with hot takes on hip-hop and whether the halftime show is good or bad or whatever else. As a huge hip-hop fan, I couldn't be more excited for this year's performance. Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Mary J. Blige, and Kendrick Lamar. I'm all in. Feel free to shit on it if you want, but I'll take that over, the Katy Perry's and Bruce Springsteens of the world any day. Sign me up. But back to the game. I'm going with the Packers. The Chiefs are obviously super talented, and they're putting it together at the right time, winning 9 out of their last 10. This is after starting the season 3-4. They actually played the Packers this year as well, winning a low-scoring affair, 13-7. In that game, Patrick Mahomes went just 20 of 37, 166 yards, 1 touchdown, but they still managed to pull it off. Worth noting, this was one of the Aaron Rodgers COVID games. The Packers had Jordan Love behind center, Not a good place to be as a Packers fan. No offense to Jordan Love. And since that loss to the Chiefs, the Packers have been red hot, winning 6 of their last 7, and effectively their last 5 in a row since the Week 18 Lions game didn't feature the Green Bay starters. I mean, for a little while, but not really. And if this is our Super Bowl matchup, I think it'll be an excellent game. Going into the year, I predicted the Cowboys and the Bills, a rematch of the 1992-1993 Super Bowls, which is technically still possible, though far from the most likely outcome. So yeah, looking at the bracket now, I've got Packers and Chiefs. I'll take the Packers over the Chiefs. Let's call it 24-17. And that'll do it for this year's postseason preview. Stay tuned for more content throughout the week and even throughout the playoffs. Remember, we got a doubleheader Saturday with the Raiders of the Bengals and then the Pats of the Bills. A tripleheader Sunday with the Eagles of the Bucks, the 49ers of the Cowboys, and the Steelers of the Chiefs. And one final wildcard game on Monday night with the Cardinals at the Rams. So have a good week. Wildcard weekend is almost upon us. I, for one, cannot wait. Thank you guys for listening. Peace.